So I was speaking to a StackAware prospect recently, and he told me that his auditors, one of the big four accounting firms, had asked him about his plans when it came to AI governance. And that is how he ended up on a sales call with me. So I decided to go into the top three trends that I'm seeing when it comes to AI and compliance. So, first of all, auditors don't yet have strong opinions on what AI governance programs should look like. While certain standards like SOC 2 allow you to define your own controls, they still have some implied requirements when it comes to things like multi factor authentication, encryption, logging and monitoring, things of that nature. Auditors will generally expect to see certain types of algorithms in place, certain types of practices when it comes to these things. With AI governance, they're not quite there yet. They're in somewhat of a wait and see approach or mode. So I find it helpful to be very transparent and clear and also comprehensive in explaining what your policies and practices with respect to AI are. It's unlikely to ding you, and it also will help you in terms of helping to shape auditor opinions when it comes to what is the right way to deploy AI systems securely. Another trend that I'm seeing is that enforcement is here, it's just not distributed evenly. So we've already seen the SEC take action against firms for doing what they call AI washing, which means essentially mischaracterizing how AI is used to drive investment decisions. We've also seen the FTC make some threats against companies that change their terms and conditions quietly in order to allow them to process customer data in new ways, for example, training on it using AI models. And then we've also seen the EU AI Act be passed recently, although some of the implementation guidance is still under under revision, and we're likely to see a body of essentially regulation by enforcement come into the fore in the coming years, just like we've seen with GDPR. So my recommendations would be to stay agile in the face of changing regulations, understand how regulators are viewing this topic is going to change potentially quickly. So being essentially ahead of your competitors in terms of AI governance is probably going to serve you quite well because they're the ones who are most likely to get hit with regulatory action, and then you can understand what those red lines are from the government and enforcement perspective. Finally, something that I think has become increasingly clear is that AI security and governance will be a separate discipline that may eventually get wrapped up into the existing disciplines of cybersecurity, but it has its own wrinkles. So I think it's important to use it as or to call it out as a separate function within the organization. It can be housed underneath cybersecurity or compliance or risk, but having a dedicated, at least part time employee focused on it will be important. So, some trends that I'm seeing are organizations that are focused on governance, risk, and compliance automation are rolling out AI specific functionality to their platforms. AI security vendors are popping up. And then consultants that are generalist security providers are also offering AI governance and risk assessment solutions and engagements to their customers. So, the top three trends that I'm seeing in terms of AI and compliance are one, that auditors don't have strong opinions yet, but they will likely develop them. So, helping to shape them will be in your interest. Number two, enforcement is here, but it's not yet evenly distributed. So, stay on the lookout. Look what's happening to competitors and others in your space. And then three is that AI security is likely here to stay as a dedicated discipline. There'll be some bleed over with existing security, governance, and compliance practices, but it's definitely worth dedicating some resources to AI security specifically.